Hi everyone. Before we started this next episode, I just wanted to take just a couple of minutes of your time. It's been 7 days since we started. We've given 7 episodes, so very happy with that. Obviously, people have got plenty of time to talk at the moment, and I suppose people have got plenty of time to listen at the moment. What I don't want to happen is 4 weeks down the line, me burning out. So I think now that there's a bit of a backlog, I might slow down on the amount of releases with the recording costs and things like that. If I was to produce one every single day, it'd probably be costing me an arm and a leg as well. So I'm going to slow down on the content in terms of I'm going to record as much as I can now, but it's going to be less focused around COVID-19 and just general conversations. And obviously, with the time that we're in at the moment, that's what's going to be brought up in a lot of the conversations. So I think I can still do plenty of recording while there's plenty of people around. Still have plenty of really cool conversations, and maybe release while we're all on lockdown 2 a week, 3 a week, maybe rather than 7. And then keep a backlog that if I have to release once a week, I can do once a week. It's giving plenty of there's plenty of other podcasts out there that we all listen to as well. I know I'm brand new in the door, so. Yeah, that's where we're at. I'm going to start doing some merchandise. I'm going to start doing other bits and pieces that, I've had a lot of people talking to me about how cool the logo is and, are you going to be doing any kind of merchandise? So, and it's something that gets brought up in this next podcast. So yes, I think I am going to start doing that. Cool. So up next, we've got Rory. Rory's a friend of ours, a friend of mine and my wife's. My wife and his wife are best friends. So a good little chat here. You'll all know a lot about Rory from his time in Lanzarote and the well-known musician that he is. We got him on for a chat and it was pretty cool. So enjoy. So, episode number 7. This is the every day we've given you an episode this week. So, yeah, really happy to have with me today Rory from Rory and the Island, Rory Gallagher, for Rory from the Lanzarote days, from the Rev'd days, Rory from all over the place. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, yeah.
How are you keeping over in Edinburgh at the moment?
Grand, yeah. It's suppose the same as everywhere else at the moment. They're just 4 walls, backyard, TV, Netflix, trying not to drink too much, not succeeding, that kind of thing.
And obviously we've been chatting there previously. I know that recently you went for a job interview, which was a new experience for you for some driving. How did that go with in these new times? New experiences in new times, I suppose.
Well, that's the thing, because like the rest of us, I have no idea when this is going to end, and I'm a firm believer in worst case scenario and then work your way back from that. So I've heard horror stories that this could be 6 to 9 months. So I'm thinking, right, if there's no gigs for 6 to 9 months, we're in big trouble, because we spent all of our savings on redecorating a house in Donegal and then putting it all into a business over here, which we didn't even get a chance to open, the Wildcat bar in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
We just, just as we're about to open, COVID-19 kicked in, and that was that. So
it was pretty much the week before, was it?
It was the week before, yeah. So we were kind of like, what skills have I got, and very little. But one thing that I would enjoy and be good at, because it's been part of my life since I was 16, is driving and to destinations, because as a musician, that's what you do. You might have a gig in Wigan one night and Liverpool the next and Glasgow the next, and you've got 3 addresses and you've got to get there for 5 o'clock, set up a PA, and so it's very similar to delivery driving.
Yeah, get into a place on time. Yeah,
exactly. With a sat nav, I can do that.
Yeah.
Getting to 80 of them in one day, that's a challenge. But that's that's something I might have to do further down the line. So I passed the exam anyway and stuff like that. So at the moment, though, I'm only getting the scrapings because thousands and thousands of people are in the same position. So they're giving all the jobs to people that are proper drivers. So I'm getting the scraps, the Uber Eats and Domino's and little things like that. But I think though, it's going to become so dependent. If this doesn't go away in a month, I think the lockdown is going to get a bit harsher, and everything will be everything will be delivered. So
So hopefully it'll pick up a bit then, yeah.
yeah, not that I'm hoping that the
Yeah,
lockdown's
and
going
yeah, look at it. We're
what I mean?
talking worst case scenario as if it's a fucking good thing. Let's
Yeah,
be honest, we'd rather
exactly.
it
Yeah,
pisses
I'll
off
make
and
a
you
few
can get
pounds
back
back.
into the Wildcat bar. Oh man.
Yeah.
And I think that's I mean, I've noticed it. Some people are kind of thinking the long term. I looked at, like, even today, I went to the shop and around seems to be a little. There seems to be a lot more people around today, and I was like, come on now, let's not get lax,
I know.
What's it like in Edinburgh around the place and in the city or on the outskirts? Where are you based? Are you in the city much, in the city centre much in general, or?
No, well, we live about 28-minute drive, exactly. Talking of sat navs, that's what always comes up when I drive to the bar. 28 minutes to the bar. We live in a kind of a rural town called Linlithgow, which is really nice. It's an old castle town just beside a loch. And, we were very lucky when the house came up here. It's a bit cheaper than living in the city, and it's just a nicer area. And thank God at the moment, because we can go for our one walk a day, down by
Yeah,
the lake and things like that. So, into nature,
nice.
keeping me sane, But no, I think it's probably not gotten lax here yet. It's gotten really tight here because it was lax for 2 weeks when
Yeah, yeah,
other,
yeah.
other
Prior.
countries, well, Ireland and all those countries were locking down, rightly so. Boris was making his mind up with Cummings. Are they going to let herd immunity kick in and let everybody get it and see who drops off? And after about 5-6 days, the public went, no, you're not doing that. You're not killing Granny just yet.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
they had to backtrack, rightly so. So I think it's only in the last week that it's people have started obeying things over here. So I think it's going to be pretty horrible here in about 10 days. But that's the way it is.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. And Cara and the kids, how are they keeping? How are you getting on? Kind of, all being in. I'm sure you're gigging most of the time, or you're out and about. How are you all getting on being in the house together and not having that escape sometimes? Is everything going okay? How are the kids
It's going
keeping?
great. Yeah, no, it's that thing where every second person saying it. Really, it's like if things end up okay after the 3 or 4 months, this is like a time freeze, and it's been a bit of a blessing. Just where you get up and you've got like 5 or 6 activities that you've created yourself. One is like, build a trampoline, sort barbecue, do the weeding, go for a walk, and then so every day is just like it's like the Waltons with the impending doom and death outside the door. It's like really happy life, and then every so often you go, oh my god, everybody could die. So that's the
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The reality kicks in. And I've seen you doing a fair bit on Facebook, your own kind of gigs, and then on Sunday you did a bit with Aidan, which I thought was a great idea, kind of leaning towards entertaining the children as well as the adults. And tell us a little bit more how you came to that idea.
Yeah, no, I just thought, when you scroll down Facebook these evenings, rightly so, every musician is trying Facebook Live gigs, and because it's the only gig in town at the moment, and I came to it a little bit late, where I didn't add the PayPal link for the first few, but I did it for the last one, and where it's just like a tip jar basically. But I'm thinking, if it's going to be like this for 6 months, after about 2 months, people are not going to be throwing fivers and tenors willy nilly at Facebook gigs, So that's why one, I did the driving test. I got the little Amazon thing certificate, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I was thinking, with so many things being the same, with the guy with the acoustic guitar singing songs, I was like, well, why don't I try something different? And Aidan is such a little character, and he actually burst in when I was doing a guitar lesson on Facebook. He burst in and just took over, but it
Stole the
worked really
show,
well.
mate.
Yeah, he's great with the camera, So I was like, okay, well, let's just do like nobody's doing that much for the kids, so we'll read a kid's book and tell a few jokes and just chat about the bug, he calls it, and and just have it really relaxing, and 6 to 6 just for kids, and so for me it's a nice break as well, something completely different where I just get to sit back and let him run amok. It's
Happy
good.
days. Yeah, no, it was really, and it went down really well. Yeah, good following and good response from it. So happy days, And do you see Aidan? Is he a man for the camera? Is he a man for getting up and doing a bit of performance? One of ours is, the other two would be a bit shyer. What's Aidan like?
No, completely. I think as well he's so suited to online stuff because he does get overwhelmed by a crowd. He gets stage fright. Well, I suppose it's hard to tell at that age, but like 9 times out
Yeah,
of
yeah,
10, he would go into his shell. Whereas he just sees himself on the little camera screen, and he's not quite sure what's happening. He just sees loads of hearts flying up, and he's having a ball playing it because he likes to
Yeah.
just to play with me anyway, and we just do silly like monster games and read stories and sing songs. So I think it's so suited to him that like it'll come across really natural because it's just me and him in the room. It might be. It could be horrible for him if there was if there was actually
A
300
load of
people sitting
others.
there in front of him. Yeah,
100%, man. Yeah. No, it
no, I
works
think
really well. It's a really good idea. I'm delighted you did it, and my kids love it as well. So keep it going, man. Please. Keeps our Thursday. Yeah, I have my dinner on a Thursday without getting punched in the head. It's great. I'm still working
watch
Monday
me
to
getting punched
Friday.
in the head instead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I'm working Monday to Friday, so I suppose part of me kind of looks and goes, I see people getting creative and getting, learning a language, learning a skill or whatever. But then I think, here, man, I've got a wage and I've got a bit of structure to my day, and I have to be at a certain place at a certain time. I'm very, very lucky in that respect. But yeah, the kids are mad for me to, once I've finished work, they're mad for me to get full on. It's like, Dad, come and do this, come and do this, come and do this. Thursdays when they're watching you, it's grand. I get a bit of peace.
And do you have to have a little pass or certificate to leave the house for work?
No, I work up in Levi's bedroom, mate, so I can work from home.
So handy.
Yeah, I got the laptop. I got a couple of bits from work. I got a monitor and a keyboard and a nice chair that's not kind of the kitchen chair. I got one of the work office chairs, and because I foresee us being here for another 12 weeks at least, so I may as well get set up for it. So it's handy enough. Lucky position to have. I'm the one who has to go and do all the hunter gathering stuff now, as in go to Super Value or go to Don's, But yeah, that's about it. I don't really go too far. I've been trying to stay in. I just I think we're nearly at halfway through week 3 now. No, the end of week 3 now. So it's getting tough. It's not easy, but it's becoming the norm, and that's weird for us, kind of even just going outside there and in the front garden. Our mum and dad came down and stayed. We went by the door, they were by the front gate, and just chatting for 10 minutes. But it just seems so natural, and that worries me. I hope we can get back to a bit of normality. Obviously, apart from gigs and opening the bar, what other kind of things are you looking forward to getting back to? What bits are you missing?
I'm probably just missing just the kind of life that I took for granted. Just simple things like I didn't realize how much I really, really genuinely love football. I always knew I liked it, but my God, I'm missing it so much. It's like and even just the simple things around it. Like I was never addictive, but I would always go in and put a fiver on a 3-match accumulator, and you're always watching your phone, and you're like interested from 12:30 in the day to 7 o'clock in the evening, and and then a bit of fantasy Premier League, and I always look forward to the structure of the weekend. It feels like there's no weekends now, where you get drunk on a Tuesday night. It doesn't really matter. It's like,
I saw something the other day that kind of midweek rules have become weekend rules, and weekend rules have become airport rules.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, I never thought I would be such a normie, but I really miss the fucking normal,
just structure and normality. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just getting a bit of a head spin now. I don't know if you're the same, where you just you got to constantly check on my watch and what day it is, and just not sure. I can imagine it's quite a similar feeling to prison.
Yeah, I thought today was Wednesday until about 2 o'clock today, and I was like, "Geez, no, it's not Wednesday, it's Friday. Where is this week gone?" So that was a bonus. It means I've got no work for the next 2 days, which I weren't expecting. But and then obviously I've seen a few bits on Facebook and kind of the conspiracy theorists that are out and about, and how and I know you like to get into debate with that. What kind of research you've been doing? What kind of things do you find that's strange and funny and wacky, and what kind of things are you kind of leaning towards? Is there any conspiracy theories you're leaning towards, or are you anti all of it?
No, I think one that's not really it's not really a general view, but most people kind of feel it, is that like I feel like we had it coming a little bit. It's like, and if this is not a big one, that there's a bigger one coming. That this is like a yellow card from nature. I just think that we were taking the piss so much. Like when you see what we've been doing to oceans and wildlife, and just the way we treat animals, and I actually never thought that. Like I think when this all this comes through, I'm gonna if I can't give up meat, I'm going to make it like a Sunday treat type thing. And, I'm really going to put the effort into even like just grow some of our own stuff outside the house. And I just think it's a big crossroads for humans, where, a lot of people are like, oh, it's the fucking Chinese, it's the Chinese, it's not, maybe it did come from China. Obviously, it did, but like I think
Yeah,
it's,
no,
it could have come from anywhere, and the next one could come from anywhere. It's just, we're asking for it. There was 2 billion people here in the '60s. There's 7 billion now, and we were getting greedier, and nobody seemed to have any time either. Everybody was so flat out. I think everybody's going to become a little bit more lefty in their views. I think they're kind of going to go, wait a minute,
yeah,
like, why was I only spending 45 minutes a day with the kids? It's just mental, and remembering how much you love your own family. And, it's like, so I'm taking that away from it. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying. I never thought I would be where we're talking about normies. I never thought that like all the kind of normal guys from school have turned into like the worst type of weird stoner I could be when I was 21 with, conspiracy theories about hamsters over in Texas controlling fucking Jewish multiple enterprises. And, it's like, Jesus, calm down, And I think it's come from, that when you think about it, Donald Trump, the leader of the free world, has gotten himself into that situation through lies and manipulation. So people are not sure, if somebody comes up with a really good, credible story about how crap he is, he calls it fake news. And, because half of the population has voted for him, they believe that the real news is fake news and the fake news is real news. So nobody knows what's going on anymore, apart from the few of us who actually, put the effort in when we were teenagers to develop our brains, So it's like,
few and far between at the moment. It seems the more I see on social media, the more I think, geez, did I like? And it's people that I would have had a lot of conversations with, and I'm looking at some of their thoughts and theories, and I just think sometimes they're just clutching for something to do, and this boredom sending them down YouTube rabbit holes that are probably no good for them, But that's
yeah,
normal too.
I think as well, it's that kind of thing where, in a strange way, when I was into conspiracy theories, a big one, and even at that, like the conspiracy ones I was into, they were a little bit more credible, because it was Saudi Arabians that flew planes into the World Trade Centers, So why did America go straight into Iraq and Afghanistan? It didn't actually make any sense, when they were just going into caves, bombing caves, but at the same time stealing all the oil, So that to me was fake and credible for a conspiracy theory, even though it's very hard to connect the dots, but it just didn't feel right. I don't know if you feel the same. I still don't think it ever felt right.
Yeah, no.
Then,
Again, it doesn't add up. There's too many questions, and there's too many answers that are credible and logical for me, on that kind of front. So whereas this, I'm still unsure. I still too many people
even
look at the numbers in certain places, and
I remember the World Trade Center. One of the real cheesy stories was that they found one of the passports of one of the hijackers on a street just down in Manhattan. Do you remember that? That was a genuine story, and it was like, his name, Ahmed Al Jabbar or whatever his name, and it was like, so that he must have just thrown it out the airplane window just before the flew to pieces. That's worthy of a story on Fox, So
yeah,
this kind of stuff,
that.
and even like the assassination of John F. Kennedy, I've never totally believed that it was just one guy, and that kind of conspiracy. But this at the moment, it really does feel like this nature biting back, and I know that there is all this stuff like that. There is basically a biochemical lab in Wuhan which doesn't help the brain tick over like that, and a month before it took off, there was scientists from Harvard caught with test tubes at the airport, and there is a lot of things like that going.
Yeah.
They're genuine stories, but I just feel that a lot of it is clutching, and we have to be very careful because if a lot of people believe this, America's never going to be as broke as it ever has been in about 3 months. I think it's going to be worse than the Wall Street crash of the 1920s. So Trump might have lost so much of his following that he might just decide, what's a good way of staying in power is dropping a few bombs on China. I'll call it the China virus again and see how that plays with the guys in Alabama, and so it's worrying times, and without going too deep.
Yeah. And then to be a little more positive and a little bit and hope for the future. How creative have you been getting? Have you got any new music, new material that you've been working on in these times? I obviously saw the Locked on Lockdown. Is there any other bits and pieces you've been working on, or?
Yeah, I've got Dreaming When Awake. That was the first one I wrote. It just feels like every morning you wake up you have to go, oh yeah, we're in this weird nightmare scenario, you know. So it feels like, you know, dreaming when you're awake. So I wrote a song around that, and at the moment for Aidan's show next week, I'm trying to write a little song for it'll be Aidan's direct auntie, Nicola, and
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
be
She's in
my
the NHS, right?
sister-in-law basically up in Aberdeen, and she works for the NHS, and she you know, she has to go in for these long shifts, and there's people with, you know, COVID-19 there all the time, and she's in the ICUs, and you know, it's such a brave thing to do. Where, you know, in the past, like you know, the bravery would have been handed to people that were a bit wired and tapped and wanted to go into the army anyway. You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
now
yeah.
at the moment, it's you know, we're giving frontline job, you know, war jobs to people that were always just there to help people. So it's weird that, you know, that they have to go and face this. You know, and every day they're reading about a new nurse and doctor that died. So I was trying
Mm.
to write just a little pick me up song from the point of view of Aidan singing to
Okay,
his auntie. You know, so but
lovely.
it's a tricky thing to write because I'm trying to make it chirpy, but at the same time not cheesy. So they're
Yeah,
tricky to
yeah,
write
yeah.
those type of songs. You know, like I don't want to go down the Ricky Gervais, David Brent hole.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, and you know, kind of looking forward again. What kind of things are you hoping that have, you know? Is there any positives that you've taken from this time being? And you know, you've mentioned a couple of them there, and hoping that people realise that time is precious and what's important and stuff. Is there anything else that you're happy to take from these times into, you know, when into some sort of normality?
Yeah, I think just basically how you know, even though I had a couple of minor breakdowns and a big one in my life, you know, with anxiety and that, how, you know, this is probably as bad as it gets. Well, maybe it could, maybe it'll be worse in 2 or 3 months, but at the moment, I feel quite positive. I feel quite good, you know, and I feel strong enough to do like live broadcasts and feeds, and I feel like I'm kind of getting a bounce back energy from the screen and people, and you know, with the Aiden show that it's, you know, it's actually uh, that, you know, to be able to actually give people a lift rather than
Yeah,
you know, a couple of years ago, if you told me that something like this was going to happen, I was going to go, oh my god, I have 2 kids, no job, there's a pandemic, I'm just going to fall to pieces, you know. And uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I almost did for the first 20 minutes when I realized what was happening, but once I kind of got my shit together, I feel quite good now, and you know, I feel like I've got a lot in reserve, which is nice from a personal point of view, and then you know, just to realize as well how lucky you are to be surrounded by such a nice family. You know, it's amazing. Where, you know, I'm kind of I might look back on this time and think, you know, if nothing went wrong, what a great couple of months that was. You know, and that's a nice
Yeah,
positive to
yeah,
take.
yeah. And I think, like, I mean, something you obviously know, my wife Sarah, and she suffers and with anxiety, and has suffered like heavier bouts and lighter bouts, or however you want to put it. Like in phases, it comes and goes, but it's
Yeah,
always there. Um, I think what's helped her with this is the feeling that everyone's got at the moment. We're all in it together. Like normally, she
yeah,
gets anxious about things and she feels she's the only one getting worried about it, whereas now we're all, geez, I've got a sore throat, or is that the Rona that's catching me? And normally that would be just her, whereas now we're all at it.
yeah.
I think I think people who are suffering with anxiety are going to have a tough time, but again, because it's something that we're all in, there's a little bit more positivity or hope around it, you know. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. I think though it's good, you know, if we are in that mind frame, especially if you suffer from anxiety, is to where I'm always saying I look at worst case scenarios. Maybe that's always never helped my anxiety, but I kind of feel like it could get a lot worse. So I'm keeping a lot of spirit and soul
yeah,
in reserve, if you know what I mean. Because you
yeah,
know, I
yeah.
read a great article there in the Guardian. They were saying the singing has stopped in Italy and the looting has started. You know, and it's like it's not kind of news stories that people want to report because it's not cool. It's not. But like, you know, people have stopped singing out the balconies now, and now they've got the army in the streets because people are trying to smash up shops to get in. You know, and that
Mm.
could easily happen in 2 or 3 months. So I'm
Everywhere,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
getting my brain tuned for that, you know, and just kind of going, okay, you know, it's
Sure,
time
you'll
just
be
to
on
be.
heightened alert now. Anyway, that's something I hear Sarah saying a lot. Like I'm very, very, very blessed. I don't suffer with kind of any sort of anxiety you know, I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm a lucky for that. But she feels this just because she's always on heightened alert at the moment because she knows there's a threat that can't be seen. And I think in time that you know, I think everyone's just, like your spider senses start tingling, right? Do you know what I mean? Um,
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
and yeah, at the moment, I just feel that people are getting a bit slack and a bit lax, and then the government are going to have to rein it in, and then the numbers are going to start growing in the death toll, and then I think it's we need to keep our wits about us in them times because it could get hairy for some people, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
I think so. I think Ireland caught it just in time, to be honest. Like I think from the stats and everything I've seen, I think they're going to have a much smaller curve than anticipated. So I think it's going to be carnage in England. Unfortunately, I think they left it
mm,
10 days too late. In Scotland, for some reason, have got a different system in the hospitals, and it's weird. That geographically the size of the countries, and you look at the death rates. Because I actually hate doing that. I feel like there's a bit of a World Cup competition on between. Have
yeah,
you noticed that feeling in different?
yeah. We're all right here,
Ireland
but
only
they've
has
got this.
90 deaths, but the UK has 2,000. But and it's like no, it doesn't. That's not the way it's going to be because it is cool that Scotland have kept it to such a minimum. Different places have, but like once it all clears up and we go, okay, we don't have many cases now. Then you kind of go, well, where can we go? We can't go to Spain, we can't go to France. All these countries are closed, and do we let them in here? So it's that weird thing where you can see why conspiracy theorists are going, this is a globalist thing because the whole globe is going to matter, in a weird way until we find a vaccine. In especially like
No
the
going anywhere, is
EU,
there?
it has to go to zero. That's the problem because one case becomes 1,000 cases in a week. It's such a it seems to be so contagious. So
Yeah, yeah.
oh, very positive. Let's review this. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
I'm
and
getting all the bad stuff out that I hide during the Facebook Live gigs.
no, but that's good, and I think as well, Rory, it's good to hear some honesty because everyone I feel has been quite positive about it, but not really spoke about the negatives, and it's good to kind of have the realities as well, which is very important, you know. And is there any kind of and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are feeling a bit kind of anxious and tetchy, and if this is something you've dealt with in the past, what kind of advice or what kind of tips do you use when you're starting to feel a little nervous or anxious? Is there anything that you do? Do you go and exercise? Do you go for a run? Do you play your
Yeah,
guitar? Do you?
yeah. If you have if you can do it, a brisk walk with deep breaths while you're walking in the fresh air, really good. If you can't do that, lie down on the bed and there's a little game I play just called the alphabet game where I would just start at A, B, C, D, and pick a topic where you go like, okay, countries, Argentina, Brazil, Colombia, and it doesn't have to be in South America, but you go through and just focus the mind, breathe slowly. I find if everything's good in the house at the moment, but you're anxious about the future, say a little kind of a thank you, to whatever the spirit in the sky about how glad you are that everything is good in the house at the moment. You've got food for the day, food for tomorrow, water's fine, and that kind of all that stuff will
Yeah,
calm you
be
down.
positive. Like,
Oh
yeah,
shit, I'm actually freaking out about imaginary stuff that's might be happening 3 weeks down the road. So little things like that, basically, if you're suffering from anxiety, you try and pull your mind into the complete present. That's what I learned. Just through breathing. So don't think about the past or the future. Just try and get yourself into the room right here, right now.
okay, yeah, and I think Sarah uses a similar technique of something that she can see, something she can touch, something she can smell, something she can hear, and focus
Yeah.
in this room of the things that happen for that. So yeah, it's good to hear. Um, Cool, man. So, I suppose finally we'll wrap up because we're at 26 minutes. What's your kind of obviously Wildcat Bar is the aim. That's where we're going. New music coming in terms of kind of the songs that you're writing at the moment. Um, any albums coming? Anything on that? Any tour again, or you're done with that for now and focusing on the Wildcat Bar? I suppose this might have changed those plans slightly in terms of having time to create again. But what's
Yeah,
your
no,
plans
it's
for
weird.
the immediate?
Yeah, no, I think at the moment just we're taking it, without sounding cheesy, day by day, week by week. I've got one gig actually in the Workman's Club in Dublin, which is, that's at the end of August. I was going to do 5 nights a week in the Wildcat. That was the plan. So at the moment, there's not much else happening apart from waiting to see, what happens with the bug, and just keeping an eye on the news and hoping for the best and hoping that my drive and work picks up a little bit. But the thing is, I think I've a good, it's weird to say it, but I've kind of got a good feeling, essentially, that I think
Yeah,
we're going to get through. We're going to get through this, because at the end of the day, it's a very, very contagious pneumonia, and considering that we all social distance and stick with it, I think there's good enough doctors surely in somewhere like Switzerland that'll sort this shit out, and we'll get back. We'll get back on the road in
Cuba,
6 months.
apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And just thinking there, obviously, kind of, it was something that I was thinking about this and ways of, trying to make a few quid off the work that you've put in already. You've got a great brand there, as well as, as well as having the music side of it, just the brand that you've got and the following that you've got. I know that, like I agree with you in what you're saying going forward. I feel that there'd be so much music and entertainment going through Facebook that that'll dwindle in terms of people throwing money at it. But have you got much merchandise, or can people buy albums still? Or I know it's generally streaming these days that people do, but have you got merchandise that people can buy? Is that something you thought about doing? Or
Yeah, no, I did that as well. I advertise it during the live link. I just say that for the laugh, I have CDs here. They're for sale on the RoryandTheIsland.com. But if you buy a CD at the moment, I'm sticking in a free drink voucher as well from the Wildcat, personally signed. And it's infinite in its date. You can come over in a year and it's still valid. So just handing out CDs and drink vouchers at the moment. So that's on the CD sales. Yeah, but it's funny the amount of people that just buy them as a token now because nobody's got a CD player anymore. So.
Yeah, that's it. A lot of people will use it for kind of, a lot of people put the artwork on the wall or whatever. I see it like I'm back into buying vinyl now because I like to buy something and have something in my hand, So we've got a decent vinyl collection, and whenever we go to a gig now, we get the vinyl and we get someone to, like the artists that we go and see, if we can hang around, we'll get them to sign it and stuff. And people that, that's picked up again. Obviously, I think pressing vinyl is probably a lot more expensive than making a CD, burning a CD. But even the drop shipping kind of things that you can do now with T-shirts and hoodies and mugs and hats and things like that. There's your logo is quite a catchy logo. There's there's
that's what we need to do. Just came into my head. They're Rory the Island face masks.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, not from China, they're from Singapore. Yeah. Cool.
So, but no, I have actually got vinyl on the website as well. I've got the 2-song single, the one we did in New York. So I've got that for sale as well. But no, I think as I say, like I'm not going to think about. It makes me a little bit anxious. You can probably hear it in my voice when I think too much about like, oh God, where's the money going to come from in 3 months? So just taking it day by day. Maybe more driving work will come in. Maybe they'll start to find better treatments for the COVID-19. So at the moment, not thinking too much long-term future, just day by day.
Cool. And what have you? So are you going to do a gig on the Sunday again and a gig on the Thursday? Is that going to be a regular thing where people can find you for the next kind of few weeks?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 8 o'clock on the Sunday will be the cans of Guinness and the full-on mad gig, and then the 6 o'clock one with Aidan on the Thursday will be kids story time, just for get the kids around the telly, and we can. The great thing is we can interact as well, so people are asking questions and even asking for like a nursery rhyme or story for the next time. And because myself and Aidan are both a bit mad as well, I think it'll come across a bit more funny than we're not just reading a story. And Aidan likes to put out the characters and put them on sticks, and it's nice to to me it's like a little art project type thing that might cheer people up, because even people without kids would watch it, and it'll take your mind off the madness for half an hour.
Exactly that. Cool. Rory, thanks very much for your time. Big love to Cara and the kids, and I'm sure we'll speak again soon. We'll try and get on the Facebook that house party app with the wives and have a drink together one evening once the kids are in bed.
Great to chat to you, Nick, and same to you and the family. And as I say,
cool,
house party, maybe even tomorrow night.
Yeah, why not? Exactly. Not as if we're busy, mate.
Yeah, got something on. Got a gig.
Exactly. Rory, thanks for your time, mate. Much appreciated. We'll catch up soon.
Thanks, Nick.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.